In this video, let us learn about the story of a great person, Kannapa Nayanar. During the period of Dwapar Yuga, before the start of the Kurukshetra war between the Pandavas and Kauravas, Arjuna went through severe penance, praying Lord Shiva to get the strongest astra called the Pasabadastra. To break Arjuna's penance, Duryodhana sent a monster who took the form of a wild boar and was called as Mukhasuran. Lord Shiva realized this plan from Duryodhana, so to protect Arjuna, Lord Shiva took another form of a hunter. He shot an arrow at the wild boar. At the same time, Arjuna also shot an arrow at the wild boar. The wild boar died on the spot. However, both Arjuna and the hunter got into an argument that the wild boar was killed by them. Arjuna told the hunter that he was an ordinary hunter and how he dared to argue with him. Then the argument became worse and both battled each other with bow and arrow. Arjuna thought, how could an ordinary hunter shoot an arrow so well? Then he prayed to Shivalinga and put a garland to Shivalinga and crossed his eyes and prayed. When Arjuna opened his eyes, the garland worn by the Shivalinga was around the hunter's neck. Arjuna felt bad. He had spoken disparagingly to the hunter without knowing that the hunter was Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, pleased with Arjuna's gesture, and gave the Pasbadastra and told, in the next birth you will be born as a hunter and attain my feet for your salvation. After a period of time, in a small town called Udupur, there was a hunter named Nagar and his wife named Tattai, living in a town, and they didn't have children for a long time. They prayed to Lord Murugan. Lord Murugan blessed them with a boy child. The baby boy was very strong and was named Tinnan. Tinnan reached the age of 16. His father then made Tinnan the leader of the hunter clan. Tinnan went for hunting as per their custom. He took with him his friends Nanan and Kadan for hunting. They hunted many animals in the forest. During this time, a wild boar came and attacked Tinnan. Tinnan then killed the boar with a sword. His friend Nanan told that there is a river named Ponmugali. There they could cook the boar and could eat on the bank of the river. So Tinnan and his friends came to the river bank. Tinnan saw a small hill nearby and wanted to go and see the place. He said to Kardan to cook the boar properly, and he and his friend Nanan went to climb the small hill. The small hill was called Tirukalatti Hill. While climbing the mountain, Tinnan got some kind of ecstatic experience that he felt very joyful. After reaching the peak of the hill, Tinnan saw a Shivalinga on the top of the hill. Tinnan felt so happy and tears came out of his eyes while seeing the Shivalinga, and he cried like a child who had not seen his mother for a long time. Tinnan then hugged the Shivalinga. Then he noticed there are flowers on the Shivalinga and asked Nanan who the pujari was. Nanan told that he had come here with his father some time ago. There was a Shivacharya who used to do puja to Shivalinga every day and place the flowers to Shivalinga. Hearing this, Tinnan then told to Nanan, I will also do the puja to this Shivalinga, and then went back to the banks of the river. Both Tinnan and Nanan ate the boar's meat prepared by Kardan and took the meat in a vessel which was good in taste, along with water in his mouth and flowers in his head. He also kept his bow and arrow on the left hand and climbed the hill. After reaching the top of the hill, he removed the flowers from the Shivalinga with his leg and spilt the water from his mouth to anoint the Shivalinga. He kept the flower and the meat in front of Shivalinga. He then remained as a protector the entire night to protect the Shivalinga from any animal attacks. The next day morning, Tinnan came down with his friends for hunting and to give good meat to Shivalinga. After Tinnan left, a Shivacharya came there to do puja to Shivalinga. He was shocked to see the meat present there in front of the Shivalinga. He immediately removed all of them, went to Ponmugali river, took bath, and then did a proper puja to Shivalinga. In the evening, Tinnan came with flowers and meat and water in his mouth, did the same thing like before, and protected the Shivalinga the entire night. The next day morning again he went for hunting. In the morning, Shivacharya got shocked again. Shivacharya did the same kind of puja. This action continued for 5 days. Shivacharya was very sad and went to bed for sleep. In his dreams, Lord Shiva came and told that my disciple named Tinnan is very fond of me, and hence he was offering the meat and flowers to me. You hide and watch my disciple. During that period, Tinnan's friends, seeing the action of Tinnan, thought that he had gone mad and decided to inform his parents about it. Hence, they went back to their hometown. After hearing the voice of Lord Shiva in his dream, the Shivacharya decided to watch what the disciple Tinnan was going to do. Hence, he was hiding behind the tree on the 6th day evening to observe the actions. Tinnan came as usual. He removed the flowers with his leg, poured the water through his mouth, and offered the meat and the flower. He then stayed there as a protector to protect Shivalinga. After a while, Tinnan noticed that blood was coming from the Shivalinga's right eye. He wiped the blood from the right eye with his hands, but the blood didn't stop. He then plucked a medicinal herb and squeezed the juice on the right eye to stop the bleeding. Even then, the bleeding didn't stop. Tinnan then pierced his eye with the arrow and placed it in the right eye of Shivalinga. Now the bleeding stopped from the right eye. After some time, suddenly the blood started coming from the left eye of Shivalinga. Seeing this, Tinnan immediately thought of piercing his left eye as well, but he thought that he could not be able to see where the left eye of Shivalinga would be. So he kept his leg on top of the left eye of Shivalinga and tried to pierce his left eye with the arrow. At the time, a hand came from Shivalinga and stopped Tinnan. Lord Shiva then appeared and told Kannapa, stop it, and praised him that with so much of devotion you gave your eyes to me. From now onwards you will be called as Kannapa nayanar. He then blessed him. So Tinnan became kannapa nayanar and was one of the 63 nayanars of Lord Shiva.